Good evening. Today is November 8th, 2021, and I am the king of all mediums. In today's podcast number 65, is I am a police completist, okay? And give you a little background on the police. And by the way, it's very easy to become a police completist. You only need 5 albums and 2 singles, and you'll see why you need 2 singles. Now, when I say completist, by the way, I don't believe they might have released a live album, but only when the band was intact. Okay, and that was 1977 to, I believe, 1984 or 85. So that's all you need. You need 5 albums and 2 singles. Let me give you a little background. Must have been like 17 or 18 when I first became aware of the police. One of my brothers was watching in the living room. He says, "Come watch this. The police are on." I said, "The police? What an odd name, for a group." And I eventually heard another group, the Cars. That was another. And I saw them. I was immediately impressed by this group. The thumping bass, the reggae sound. Immediately impressed, and became one of my favorite newer bands. I'm not into new music per se. I usually like groups from 1967 to, let's say, 1971. Anything past that, as time goes on, it gets kind of weaker. And let's say things get totally out of whack after 1975. So they're one of the rare groups that I kind of like. Dire Straits, The Police. So, I really liked the Police, and I had a chance to see him at Madison Square Garden, but I was going through kind of a college-age depression. It must have been 1985. They're playing Madison Square Garden, so I saw the ticket I had to my friend Rich for it was like $10 back then, so I didn't see him. So he came back and he got me a shirt. You never know what happened to that Police shirt, So when I became a vinyl enthusiast, I said, what are some of the groups to become a completist with? And first one I did was Buffalo Springfield. However, I found that I'm not a completist because I still do not own the original first pressing Buffalo Springfield. And that's quite expensive, so I'm going to have to wait a little. I got to save money for that. I am a Beatles completist. And the third group is very easy because they only released 5 albums. So let's first start. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need is their first single. Now, their first single is quite interesting, and it's called Fallout. Now, what's so interesting, the band consists of Sting on bass and vocals, Stuart Copeland on drums and guitar, interestingly enough, and Henry Padavani on guitar. No, Andy Summers was not yet with the band. And they released the single first before anything, and it was on illegal records. And what's so interesting about this is that Sting wasn't really the leader of the band. It was Stuart Copeland, the expatriate American, I like that. And the song that caught most people's attention was Fallout. I like this type of single. You don't have to put that stupid donut in. And on the flip side was Nothing Achieving, as Stuart Copeland wrote both tracks, actually. So at that point, he was kind of the leader of the band. Sting was just a side guy, Sting was a side guy. So what happened was Sting got more influence. He didn't like Henry Padavani. So they brought in Andy Summers. Now, Andy Summers was much older. In fact, he's 79 years old right now. And actually played with Eric Burdon and the Animals for a short stint. And they found out Andy Summers was a lot better guitarist than this guy, Henry Padavani, right? So they got rid of Henry Padavani, and they got their record deal because they were much better. And so instead of they could have kept him, and had a third or fourth guitarist. They said, we don't need him. So then they released their first album in America. It was on AM Records. I don't know. And it was in England, if you're following from England. And it's called Outlandos de Amor. They always had these strange, fake, I don't know, it's real French and a lot of outstanding tracks on this. Next to You, So Lonely, Roxanne was a single, Whole My Life, Peanuts, all good songs. Can't Stand Losing You is also a single. Truth Hits Everyone, great song. Born in the 50s. Be My Girl, Sally, and Masaka Tango was a little weird song, but a good song, but a terrific opening album by the Police. This was released in 1979. So I must have been like 14 or 15, in high school or somewhere, when I first saw them on television, American television. And that was when I first saw how terrific these guys were. Okay, so the first thing you need that single, and you can get this, or I got it on eBay, of course. You're not gonna find them selling new ones. Nothing Achieving It, Fallout, I think, is the A side. Nothing Achieving is the B side. You need that because that was the first thing ever released, and you need Outlandos de Amor. Records tend to be in good condition, by the way, because they're not that old. Any record under 45 years old usually will be pretty good. It's just those records they tend to be a mess. Okay, so that's what I found in my vinyl collecting. Now they come out with the second album, and it's a controversial lyric, especially these days. This one, The Bed's Too Big. That's it. Okay. This is called, again with the French, or the faux French, Ricardo de Blanc. Okay, and another album full of amazing songs. Message in a Bottle, Ricardo de Blanc. Message in a Bottle, of course, the big hit. It's All Right for You. Bring On the Night. Death Wish. Not as deep, I think, as the first album, but some great songs. Walking on the Moon, big single. On Any Other Day. On Any Other Day. That's the song. The controversial lyric. I won't say what it is, but you probably would know if you know the song. Homophobic lyric, which is Contact, Does Everyone Stare, No Time This Time. Not as strong as the first album, but the two songs on it were such big hits. I think it kind of covers up. The Bed's Too Big Without You is a great song. Bring On the Night's good. There's a lot of good songs, but I don't think it's strong as the first album in terms of depth. But no less, the first time I think it was a 5. That's like a 4. Okay, then let's see what year this is. Let's see. 1980. So that must have been, wow. They came out 3 albums pretty quick. 1980, they came out with Zenyatta Mandata. Another, I probably think, nonsense language. All right. So the 3 members get together. They come up with their album. Somehow the video sometimes just goes dead. Okay, so we're talking about third album. So the first side is great, but then for some reason, the second side isn't as good. The da-da, that's pretty good. Behind My Camel, it starts to get weak. Man in the Suitcase is good. Shadows of Ray is good. The Other Way of Stopping, not as good, but still, this one I would give a 4.5. A lot of good tracks. Better than Regatta de Blanc, but not as strong as the first album. 4.5 stars. I would give Zenyatta Mandata. Now with the fourth album, the Police start moving away from their reggae-ish sound. There's still elements in it, but there's more, more, they're getting more, what's the word? They're getting more complex in their musical forms. And this is called Ghost in the Machine. And what's interesting, Sting's getting into Arthur Koestler, or some kind of author. Now, these 3 symbols represent each of the members. I think this obviously Sting is his hair. I think Andy Summers is the shortest member. He's very short, like 5'3". Okay, so he would be this guy, and this is Stuart Copeland, right? That guy. So each guy's a symbol now, right? And what's on this now? The first 3 songs are great. Spirits in the Material World, Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic, Invisible Sun. So immediately, to me, when I'm reading out, you have 3 5-star songs. Me, it's a 3.5 at least. Any other thing. And Hungry Sheep, Demolition Man, okay. Too Much Information, okay. Rehumanize Yourself, okay. One World, Omega Man, Secret Journey I do like, and Darkness. I'd probably give this a 4-star. I mean, it's 3 unbelievably good songs, the first 3. The rest of the album's kind of meh, though. I like Secret Journey. That is a great song. So, probably give it 3. I'd probably just say 4, And it's a pretty good album. Now, so the Police, The Ghost in the Machine. He's getting this Arthur Koestler. Now, again, I'm not too familiar with Arthur Koestler's work. I don't know what it means. I talk about it, but I have no clue. Maybe I'll read up on it. Some strange psychology type stuff, King, fortunately, the king is not the brightest bulb in the world. No, actually, I'm a really smart guy. I'm ignorant of it. I can't talk about it. It's something I don't know about. Now, further along with the theme of Arthur Koestler, Sting names the 4th album something about synchronicity, which Arthur Koestler talks about. Got a pretty good deal on this, actually. $8. Alright, so I think that's the right side. Can't tell which side's which. Alright, so this is the album really where the members of the police started having trouble. Sting realized that, at this point Sting realized he could live without the other 2 members of the band. The other 2 the members of the band were kind of like saying, hey, Andy Summers, and hey, I was a songwriting credit, so I came up with the riff for this. And Stuart Copeland, yeah, I could play guitar too, I'm talented. So Sting was like, okay, I'll go for myself. And that's what he did, and he was quite successful. Sting actually is one of the most successful recording artists of all time. I'd like to look it up, but I know for a fact he has 17 Grammy Awards. Now, Grammy Awards, Schmammy Awards, how King feels about this popularity, but that's pretty impressive. I mean, Billie Eilish, that's Grammy Awards. So, you can say what you want about him. So, to me, that doesn't impress me too much, but I think the Beatles only won 10, so it is kind of impressive. He's an impressive fella. You gotta admit, whether you like him or you don't like him. Okay, let's see what's on this. Synchronicity 1, great song. Walking Your Footsteps, good. Oh My God, Mother is kind of like weird song by Stuart Copeland, Miss Gradenko. It's a pretty good song. Synchronicity 2 is a great song. I love that song. Side 2, what did I say? Okay, Every Breath You Take, great song, of course, whether you like it or not, it's kind of run, but King of Pain, great song. Wrapped Around Your Finger, great song. So you got 3 5-star sources like that. And Tia Sahara, very good song. Probably give this one a 4.5, And that's where it ends. Now, you might say at this point, you got 5 albums and a single. I don't complete it, but there is a problem. Now, the King noticed on this single, he got this single on a lot. There is a song they did release. See, there's the King of Pain single, right? But if you look on the back, there's a track called Someone to Talk To, which was not released on any of their albums. That means you would need this single also to be a vinyl completist. And the King has it. So with these 5 albums, these 2 singles, you can be like the King. And I know you do. You probably don't. But you can be a vinyl completist of the Police. Wow. Oh, this is in 2 parts. Okay. So, wow, I only did this in 6 minutes. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Today was November 8th, 2021, and I am the king of all mediums, and this is podcast number 65. Thank you, and I'm going to do a podcast. Just got to get all the materials together. My next podcast, 66, will be the King's 10 worst purchases of things that people told him, said to him, or on Twitter, oh, this is a great album, and or this is a great group. So I bought them, and they were just horrendous. So that'll be the next one. So thank you for listening, and I'll do better next time. Thanks.